Hi everybody, this is William from the Godzilla Files coming at you today with another X Plus review. And today we're going to be looking at a figure that was just released, the 25 centimeter Hedorah. So you can see right here, this is the box. Simple cover art, I do like it. Nothing too crazy. But yeah, so box. I don't keep my boxes, I just cut them down and keep the covers. So, I need space. I don't have enough space for the figures and the boxes. But alright, now that we got the box out of the way, let's talk about the figure. Here he is. So this guy is beautiful. I'm sure a lot of people have been seeing photos on the X Plus group or just photos in general online or any of the forums that they're part of. This is probably the best Hedorah that I have seen from X Plus. Without a shadow of a doubt, it improves upon the 30 centimeter and also the 25 centimeter. And one of the biggest things that I would say is, and I don't know if you're going to be able to see it through here, is the sparkles. So the suit, and I'm sorry if you can't see it, but in person, anyone who has this figure knows what I'm talking about. The original X Plus figures did not have this. And if you go back and you look at old stills or even just the movie in general, Hedorah always kind of sparkled. And so they kind of fixed that problem. And they've done a wonderful job. He is my second 25 centimeter figure. I have Gabra, but this guy matches so well standing next to my 30 centimeter Mecha Godzilla. So I actually do really like that. I don't put them with, the way I set mine up is a little different from other people. I actually set up like my villains or evil kaiju in one area and do different things. So he actually fits perfectly next to them. So that's one thing I really enjoyed because I mostly collect 30 centimeter, but this one, when I saw this one, it just blew me out of the water. I definitely thought this was the closest to the actual Hedorah costume as X Plus has gotten. Not to say that the other ones are bad in any necessary, but I think if you're looking for the definitive Hedorah, this is it. So this is the standard edition, but the Rick actually came with a lot of really cool things. It was one of the first X Plus figures that I really thought about going Rick with, but because Hedorah isn't exactly my favorite kaiju, I decided not to. But if you did go with it, I believe the arms, there was different arms that kind of went up. I definitely like that. I like that kind of like he was almost trying to grab. You can almost make it look like he was trying to grab stuff. I know his eyes, you could change one of his eyes so that it's closed. And finally the light up feature kind of blinked, and I thought that looked good. From what I saw online, the light ups are actually done very well. There's very little bleed through, which is something that to me and I know to a lot of other people is very important. You can see here he has a tail, kind of goes up. So the good news is he's not as big of a shelf hog as probably past versions of him. Love the little back here, love the color. The other thing I have to say is, and you can kind of see it through here, he looks dark and moist. Like, he looks like sludge. And it's so amazing how they did that. Like, he always looks like he's like damp or like wet in areas. And I just have to say, it's, putting my feelings aside about the film, it's not one of my favorites, but I do enjoy it. This figure, it's up there with figures like King Ghidorah, Gigan, for me, and like even Titanosaurus, where you look at them and it looks like they just came out of the movie. Like they just basically like, okay, make the suit and we'll just bring it down to a smaller size. And this is one of those figures. Could be contender of the year. I know it's pretty early in the year, and I'm sure we have more figures to come. You know, X Plus always likes to throw some surprises, but this guy should be in the running. I can't say anything bad about him. I always try to be realistic with my views, on these guys. But I really can't find too many, really bad things. And if you go with the standard, you're not missing out on a great figure. The standard is just as good as the Rick. Yes, the Rick does come with extra things, but if you're looking for just Hedorah himself, you can't go wrong at all. So yeah, that's kind of about it. You can see here the tail, long ways. Like I said before, not too big of a shelf hog, which is nice. The other 30 centimeter is pretty big. I also think they got the coloring right on this guy, even more so. Just an overall, an amazing figure. Definitely would recommend picking up if you could. I do believe Flossie's Gifts has some or is getting some, so I would strongly recommend that. He probably isn't that expensive yet, also on the third-party market, so places like eBay, and maybe even some Japanese sites probably still have him. I'm not 100% sure, but I do believe definitely Flossie's Gift either has some or is getting some soon, so I would definitely check them out if you did miss out on him. So yeah, definitely strongly recommend this guy. Look forward to more of the figures. Next one up for me, or at least the next new figure up for me is Mecha Godzilla 2, which should be coming out later this, I should say next month. Depending on when I put this video up, in July. Let me just leave it at that. So I'm excited for him as well. Oh man, just look at his face. It's so good. His eyes, everything. I can't say enough about him. Top of his head. This part would light up. All here. But yeah, didn't have too much trouble with his tail. I thought I was going to. So don't worry too much. I know it looks a little strange, but just do what you normally do. Heat up the bottom and then put the tail in. You should be all good to go. Like I said, I didn't have any issues. It does look like the feet can move a little bit. Again, I don't ever recommend moving the feet, moving anything on your X Plus figure. I just don't like to do that. These aren't meant to be played with. They're kind of more meant to be displayed. So I kind of just leave it the way it is. So yeah, final thoughts about this guy. Strongly recommend picking him up if you can. He is probably the best Hedorah to get. And I will, end this review on just some kind of photos for you to take a look. Hopefully I can kind of show you more of the sparkle here. And I hope you enjoyed all. So I'll talk to you guys all later, and I look forward to putting out some more reviews on some X Plus figures that I'm getting, especially on this one figure that I got, which is one of my holy grails. So that will be coming out, in a couple, maybe about next week or so. And I will see all you guys later.